Welcome to William Steele True Crime.
The first bombing of the World Trade Center was done with illegal cigarette money. Think about
One of the things in the news that I'd love to touch on one thing. This guy, David Schwartz, attorney for Michael Cohen, the Stormy Daniels Trump saga. Have you guys heard of this guy, David Schwartz?
Yeah, he's a dirtbag lawyer for the guy that's testifying against Trump.
No,
not answering.
Everybody
comes
off the screen, so we're dealing with some technical issues.
What do you know about it, Bill? What do you know about this guy Schumer, Bill?
You talk about David
that's
Schwartz.
Me.
Schwartz. Schwartz. What do you know about Schwartz here?
Schwartz.
David Schwartz. Okay, so my beautiful co-host here, Frank, with the big smile, he said he's a dirtbag lawyer. So that's the opinion of my guest, and he's entitled to his personal observations. I have a story that is so huge about this guy and his horrific conduct. That show is going to be coming out in a day or two.
Okay.
I want to know what you guys know about David Schwartz. Now, he is the guy representing Michael Cohen, and Michael Cohen's the guy who is Stormy Daniels. He's in prison now for wanting to testify against Trump, and he got caught making up lies about Trump and all kinds of stuff. So what have you guys recently heard about this David Schwartz? Because he's in the news constantly, and we have a personal connection with the proof. It's going to come out in a few days.
Schwartz. Yeah, I think I've read was just a few articles here about, I guess, Cohen forwarding him some case law. Cohen was an attorney, and I guess it was generated through an AI database, and he didn't vet it, and they put in the briefing, and it looks like it wasn't good case law. So he didn't look good about that. I mean, if your client gives you anything, you've got to research it and verify that it's good. You just can't say, hey, it's good enough, I'll put it in there. And the judge didn't appreciate that. And the judge didn't appreciate that. So they're dealing with that mess right now. That's why I don't know much more. I know you guys have a lot more info on this guy.
Right. What do you think about this guy, David Schwartz?
I don't think he's a very credible lawyer if he's representing a guy that's not credible at all. So he must two peas in a pod. That's what I think. And I think that they're just trying to destroy Trump once again.
He is part of one of the most breaking news stories right now in the last few days. And we have something on him that's going to rock the United States with another huge story about this guy's utter malfeasance and impropriety and disgusting behavior towards people and not checking the facts before he moves.
Look forward to it. Should be a good show. Coming out in a few days, Bill.
So David Schwartz in Westchester County says that he wants them to not prevent flavored tobaccos to come in because it's going to increase smuggling operations, which who knows. But at the end of that 3-minute thing, which I'll put the link in the description, he's got the nerve to say the first 9/11 attack was financed by tobacco smuggling.
The first bombing of the World Trade Center was done with illegal cigarette money. Think about this.
Yeah.
This guy is so off the rails. And when the breaking news comes out, his connection to people close to me with evidence, with letters, with emails, well documented, I think that'll be the end of his career. Welcome to William Steele True Crime. Does anybody know these characters on the screen behind me? Now, I want everybody to comment in and tell me who the guy is on this side here, peeking out, the peeker, right? And these two characters. So we know who they are, right? This guy, whoop, this right here. There he goes. That guy there. He's David Schwartz. David Schwartz, an attorney who used to be a prosecutor in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm from. And he's been trying his hand at practicing criminal law. And this guy's in the headlines constantly. I mean, he's representing some interesting characters, and he cannot seem to keep his foot out of his mouth. And we have a personal tie to this particular individual and these two guys behind me. So Goldman McCormick, public relations firm, New York City. We have very special guest coming on for a gigantic interview that will really shed the light on who this particular guy really is. Right here. See him? And these two guys, especially. This one, oh, let me see. I'm going to get my hand right. This one here. So get a good look. And this one here. If I could figure out which way to put my hands would be good. But I want everybody to put in the comments who this peaker is over here. This guy, the peaker. I want to know who this guy is. Put that in the comments if you recognize him. So David Schwartz. So, he's been a longtime client of Goldman McCormick Public Relations Company. Now, that is owned by Mark Goldman and Ryan McCormick, who are directly over my shoulders. And they operate out of a virtual mailbox in New York City. So Ryan touts himself as a PR guru and represents himself as an attorney, which we allege and can assert and believe to be true that he's absolutely not an attorney. He's represented this to prospective clients. He's put it in some of his advertising / website, et cetera, et cetera. So Gotham Government Relations is a lobbying firm that was a partnership between David Schwartz and Brad Gertzman. Brad Gertzman, so far, we don't have any issues with you. You seem like... Now, these are not the Four Stooges, not even the Three Stooges. These are prominent members of society behind us, supposedly upstanding gentlemen. My guess will beg to differ, and you will not believe what's going to be revealed with documentation and proof. This guy, David Schwartz, can't stay out of the media. So he has a litigation arm with Gertzman, and they profess to represent people and various matters, and will do anything for Ryan and the Goldman McCormick public relations firm behind me, never vetting anything that they present to him. He just goes off, in my opinion, from what I've seen with my own eyes and the evidence, half-cocked, and gets people in massive amounts of trouble, okay? Including costing them many, many more years in prison for no reason whatsoever. We have the proof. Now, this story is breaking every single day about this guy, David Schwartz. Now, we're going to be doing a segment on here on disgraced lawyered and disbarred attorneys. So he's not disbarred yet. We don't know what's going to happen with all that. However, the tactics utilized by these individuals, this guy submitted a brief with case citations, which is what your strength of your case relies on. I'm not a lawyer, but it's the underpinning of a case and your argument in a court of law, with case citations generated by AI and submitted to him by somebody else that he did not vet, he did not review. He got in a world of trouble. It's just been in the media all over the place. He was at a Westchester County City Council meeting telling them, and I paraphrase, in bombastic, no uncertain terms, that the first attack on the World Trade Center was financed by tobacco smuggling. The first attack on a World Trade Center is financed by tobacco smuggling. You can't make this stuff up. So he's constantly on TV. He's been profiled on CNN, Fox, Esquire magazine, all these things. Megyn Kelly, her audience laughed at him. She pointed it out to him that the things he says are completely ridiculous and like contrary to what any lawyer should be doing for a client, and seemingly, in my opinion, against their best interest. Now, if you or I would make false statements to postal inspectors and corrections officials and cause somebody to get locked down at a prison, when you're a criminal attorney, you say you're a former prosecutor, so you know how to manipulate, use, and possibly abuse the system, right? By virtue of your voice, your authority, you're an officer of the court. Being an officer of the court doesn't give you carte blanche to do the things that some of these gentlemen have been accused of. And we're not just talking accusations, we have the proof. So we have very, very important guests coming on here next week for an interview. Mary Bass is a forensic accountant and a data scientist who retained Goldman McCormick, public relations firm. Again, they're in cahoots with this guy, David Schwartz, who's in the media constantly for one bizarre comment after another, for doing inappropriate things in court, and just being a character. I mean, he's a character. I mean, in New York, we have many, many colorful characters, and he's certainly one of them. But being an officer of the court does not allow him to do some of the things that we're going to prove that he's done. So let's see. So looking over some of my notes. So yeah, he's legal counsel for an individual on the screen. Blamed Donald Trump's fixer and another attorney for fake case citations made with artificial intelligence. And he admits submitting the document, but he won't take the blame. He apologizes, yet blames somebody else. And, all that may be true, but where is accepting accountability for your own, in my opinion, shoddy lawyering? Not just shoddy, but deliberately making misrepresentations to federal authorities, and we're going to prove it. That resulted in a world of trouble for two very, very decent human beings who have been victimized by the two behind me. And we're going to shed light. We're going to steal a spotlight from these people once and for all. Join us Monday for a very, very important interview with Dr. Mary Bass and possibly somebody else who's incarcerated, and he's got all the facts also. Even if we can't get him on here live, we have him on multiple interviews. We have the facts, the emails, the contract. We have the reporting from the federal authorities regarding this David Schwartz behind us. So we will definitely see you then. This matter is going to be exposed. We are going to rip the lid off the collection of individuals behind us in a way that the mainstream media hasn't even begun to see yet. And it's unfortunate that it's come to this, but they don't want to return phone calls. They don't care that there's an elderly woman suffering and that an innocent man went to confinement for a very long time, lost all of his legal work, and is serving an additional 15 years in prison for no reason whatsoever, based upon misrepresentations and, in my opinion, lies told by David Schwartz that the documents and the evidence will show he did deliberately to cause this man misery. And the badgering calls from this individual right there as well. So I never have a story on my show that I can't back up. I never do. Matter of fact, we run people off this show that, because my credibility means a lot to me. So listen, everybody, this is a serious matter. And when you see what these gentlemen have done in black and white, I hope your outrage is complete. We try to give people second chances and opportunities to be heard. They don't want to return phone calls. They don't want to return what they owe. And I'm not going to mention racketeering, but I'll mention racketeering. So thank you. We'll see you this Monday.